So, a very warm welcome to you and welcome to the Hypnogeeks Podcast, the podcast where we explore the incredible world of hypnosis and the therapeutic and the science. But this week, we're adding, which is why I went, ta-da! I did my jazz hands. We're adding the entertaining and mind bending too. I'm your host, Amanda Joy, and today we have a very, very special guest who is truly a master of his craft. Joining us today is Grant Saunders, one of the UK's premier professional stage and comedy hypnotist. And Grant has spent over 20 years perfecting the art of stage hypnosis. He has created fast-paced, absolutely hilarious, some of my favorite TikTok videos, which is how I got chatting to him recently. Hilarious videos. Go follow him. You will wet yourself laughing. Unforgettable shows that just literally mesmerize audiences around the globe. He's performed everywhere: theatres, cruise ships, corporate events. I bet you've been to a few holiday parks as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And I believe you've also performed at Balmoral Castle.
Yes.
And your journey, Grant, it's been into hypnosis. It's been really surprising and for
Mm.
me, super relatable. A personal fear of public speaking, a real knee knocking lack of confidence about getting out there and delivering hypnotherapy in a therapeutic sense. And you discovered that the power of hypnosis didn't just help you overcome your own fears and build your own confidence, but it entertained and it inspired others as well. Ultimately, you've been building in the background and around the world a huge career in performance hypnosis. And over the years, Grant's become a recognised authority in the field of stage work. He is a board member of the International Stage Hypnotist Association. I had to put my teeth in to say that. And he's the founder of the Performing Hypnosis Summit in Las Vegas. And you know what they say, what happens there stays there. And if you've been hypnotized, you might just forget it happened as well. He was recently honoured as Hypno World's magazine's Hypnotist Entertainer of the Year 2025. Amazing. He is also one of the few full-time stage hypnotists in the UK, which gives him a really, really different, unique perspective on this amazing world of hypnotic performance and its connection to the much broader picture of hypnotherapy. In today's episode, hopefully, we're going to go deep diving into the art and science and fun that stage hypnosis brings. We're going to explore questions like how can getting on a stage, working with people with hypnosis, how can that inform people? How can that inspire people? And how can it inspire people like me and other hypnotherapists with the work that we do? I know that we tend to try and keep them very separate. Oh, that's
Mm.
stage, this is therapy. But actually, there's a lot of connection, and we're all using hypnosis. We're all working with trance. Hopefully, I'm gonna squeeze some info out of him about techniques that make stage performance really safe, really ethical, and absolutely hilarious. And hopefully, we can talk about what the public can learn about the power of the mind through these entertaining shows, because I think a lot of us get a bit sort of freaked out and think, oh no, that's nothing like hypnotherapy. But actually it might be a wonderful way to really engage audiences and really show them mind power in a really wonderful and entertaining way. I'm also going to see if Grant will share his insights into his current projects. I know he's about to head off and do some exciting stuff, and I've just asked him if he's going to be doing any stage hypnosis programs, and he says he might be. So there'll be more coming from him later. Performing in Las Vegas at the Hypnosis Summit, an event that really brings everyone together, performers, therapists, and he's here today to share his knowledge and his stories from the stage. So without further ado, I like my performance voice. Let's welcome the man to the show. Welcome to Hypnogeeks. Thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for that amazing introduction. I feel like I was on "This Is Your Life." Look, Eamon Holmes has been on for any minute now. That was an amazing intro, and it's weird. Even though you have to have a certain ego to be a stage performer, sometimes when you hear all that stuff, it does kind of make you a little bit, yeah, makes you blush a little bit. But yeah, thank you for having me on.
No,
It's
it's
good. It's
great.
good to be able to, like you said there, to bridge the gap between the world of hypnotherapy and the world of stage hypnosis.
Because I think we do get a little bit. I've done it myself, I'll be honest. People have come, are you gonna turn me into a chicken? Well, no.
Yeah,
That would be really quite some. Are you gonna make me quack like a duck? Are you gonna make me
yeah.
sing like Elvis? And it's like, actually, if I could, you could probably make quite a bit of cash. But I always say no, 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 none of that. You're totally in control. It's not like stage, it's not like
Yeah,
stage hypnosis. And it's almost like I'm indicating that when people
yeah,
are on a stage, they've lost control, they've lost their faculties somehow, they've handed over the control of themselves to the hypnotist, and for laughs and gasps and giggles, and I think that is always a separation that I have felt extremely comfortable with as
mm,
somebody who wants to help people like stop drinking and stop using substances and get a healthier relationship with food, or deal with something like IBS
hmm
or migraines or insomnia. So they're at very far ends of the spectrum, and I've kind of gone, and the stage hypnotist can stay that far away as far as I'm concerned. But talk to me about your journey, because I don't know if it's a regular journey into stage work that you've had, but it started with therapeutic work.
Yeah. So my mum was very much into hypnotherapy, and I swore I would never get into it. And so I kind of took some of the elements from that and kind of got into some businesses when I was younger. And then when I came out of that, I thought, "Do you know what? The only other thing I know is hypnotherapy." And kind of, was plodding along doing the usual weight loss, smoking, those types of clients.
Yeah,
And then I knew that in order to raise my profile, either get better clients, get more clients, have a better reach rate, for whatever reason, I thought I need to actually be more public. So my plan was to maybe do a bit of training, because when you train people, you get a deeper understanding of your subject anyway. But I
absolutely.
had this morbid fear of public speaking, and I mean a real fear of public speaking, palms sweaty, dry mouth. Just I would sooner be run over by a train than stand up in public and talk. So I thought the way to get over that is to do a public demonstration, to do a show. And so I volunteered for a local charity, NABD they were called, National Association for Bikers with a Disability. What they do, great charity.
Ah,
Yeah. If
awesome.
you
Throw yourself
yeah,
in with bikers.
exactly. And I thought, well, they do a thing where if you're a biker and you have an accident and you lose a limb,
Yeah,
they re-engineer your bike so you can still be a biker. So I saw a local
wonderful.
boozer, a proper pub. I saw that they were doing this charity night, and I thought, you know what? I'll volunteer as a hypnotist to do a show, having never done one. And so I've done that. And on the night of the show, I just remember being like, I don't know how this is going to go. I've walked into the venue. I've got a pinstripe suit on. I've got a white shirt with a big white footballer's knot tie. And I've looked around the room, and it was obvious I was a fish out of water.
You look like a
Uh,
lawyer in a
oh,
biker's
yeah.
club.
But the good thing with that is it then meant I couldn't back out and go, oh, and step out. Because the moment I walked in, they knew I was the hypnotist. And I was shaking, I was panicking, and it was just like, it's too late to back out now. And so I just did it. And I remember about 10 minutes in, everything was going wrong. I'd forgotten all the stuff I'm supposed to say. It got so bad. I've done the whole compliance you do at the beginning of the show, the pre-talk. I'm like, everybody stand up where you are. I'm like, only a few people are standing up. And I'm like, everybody stand up where you are. And then it's at that point I realized that I'm at a charity show for bikers with a disability where the majority of the audience have got prosthetic limbs. And I'm like, oh no. So
Beautiful.
how to lose rapport with an audience straight away. And then my first suggestibility test is like light and heavy hands. And again, I'm looking and it's like the majority of the audience have got like, a false arm. And I'm like, you're really losing everything. And so I kind of thought this, you've just got to go 100% and see what happens. And the first person that went under, I think I was as shocked as them. And the audience just changed like that. The moment they saw people doing silly things, all that stuff was forgotten about, and they were just concentrating on the people on stage. And I remember thinking about, I don't know, after my second or third routine, all of that fear of public speaking had gone. The energy in the room was just so exciting. And I absolutely loved it. And you talk about like a drug of choice, that feeling on stage is just all your cares and concerns just go away. And I absolutely loved it. And at the end of the show, the landlady of the pub has kind of gone, oh, that's really great. We'd like to book you for another show for an event we're doing in a couple of weeks' time. And it just one after the other after the other. And then I almost forgot about the therapy clients, to be fair. It then became my focus was just to be the best stage hypnotist that I could be. And I absolutely love it.
Well, I'm pretty sure laughter is definitely one of the best therapies. I my background is in massage therapy, and I used to go to the farmyard, which was like a,
Yes,
a big
I know
bike
the
rally.
farmyard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a big bike
yeah,
rally near like Pickering, I think that area.
yeah,
And I used to work in a tent next to the
yeah.
bike doctor, and people would be having their motorbikes fixed by the bike doctor in one tent, and I'd be fixing the bikers in the other. And I
No,
tell you what, I saw some right injuries coming in there. I don't
yeah,
think you could do heavy arm or light arm. You'd have to be really careful. I don't
yeah,
think any of them can lift their arm above their elbow. They're so
yeah,
tight and sore, and
yeah.
bike injuries are really, really fun. How do you pick your volunteers?
I always, in the olden days, stage hypnotists always used to do like a hand lock, and
Yeah.
then people that couldn't separate the hands, they called them up on stage. It's a grey area, is that, to be fair, because ethically, you want people on stage that want to be on stage. And
Yes.
sometimes with a hand lock like that, you'll get someone who can't unlock the hands, that doesn't necessarily want to be hypnotized on stage in front of people, and it can create a little bit of anxiety further down the line. So I want people that want to be hypnotized. So I have a couple of suggestibility tests, which are nothing to do with hypnosis whatsoever. They're just about getting the audience from being sat there going, I want to watch other people do daft stuff. I'm not going to do it myself. And so the suggestibility tests are just about getting them moving, moving the body language so they kind of go, oh, do you know what? I'll give it a go. And then literally, I'll do a couple of silly little tests and then I'll go, if you want to be hypnotized, come and join me on stage. And that's the scary bit because you could lock the hands together and make them come up on stage. But by saying, if you want to be hypnotized, come and join me on stage, you're getting people that want to be hypnotized. And you're not getting people up there that are going to start doing stuff and then panic and then want to leave. Or worse than that, have a negative experience. So they come up on stage, they do stuff that they didn't want to do. And then when they come
Mm.
off stage, they don't feel good. I saw I'll not say who it was. Somebody sent me a video of somebody doing a hypnosis show at a wedding. And this poor lady was the only lady that went under hypnosis. And this person, they must have been working them on and off throughout the night for about 2 hours. The person looked exhausted.
Oh
They
no.
weren't having a good time. And it was about the ego of the hypnotist. I say a lot of my success is not down to the show. It's down to the fact of I look after my volunteers, but most importantly, when they leave the stage, I want them to go, that was loads of fun. I want to do it again. And I want the audience to go, oh, that was all right. I'll volunteer next time. And I think
Yeah.
that's the secret. You've got to make sure that people know that they enjoy themselves. And that's the thing. So a lot of the venues that I do, I've done. I mean, there's one venue I do over the summer that I'm there every Sunday and have been there for the last 12, 13 years, every week, which is great because the people at that audience, they've already heard about my show. They've heard about it from friends and family. They've seen it themselves. Some of them have grown up with it. And so
Yeah.
because of that, they know it's going to be a good time. I think sometimes when guys are working the pubs and the clubs, which I don't do too much of that these days, but when you work in those venues, there's that reputation that hypnosis got in the early 90s, which is you're going to make someone do something, they're probably going to regret. It's going to be a bit too
Yeah.
adult. It's going to be a bit something they'll be ashamed of. You're working against that, if you know what I mean. So I'm lucky with good audiences the majority of the time.
So it's about not making them do things that they don't want to do. It's about working in a really ethical way, making sure you've got
Yeah,
that. It's consent, in it.
yeah,
Consent is you understand a little bit about, or you understand what's going to go on, and you're up for it, and you're willing.
exactly.
You're on there,
And it,
and I guess the activities that you do, does that kind of create a bit of a state change in the
oh,
audience?
absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that's what it's about. It's about taking people from that. And here's the kind of the metaphor behind it. It's taking someone from a closed body language place where they're like, I don't believe in none of that. I'm not going to volunteer. For them to then go, oh, do you know what? I'm actually open to that. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it 100%. And then they enjoy the change.
Yeah.
And it's that mindset shift that they have where they come away going, do you know what? If that can happen to me on stage and I can do all those amazing things, then I wonder what else I can do if I put my mind to it. And so that's as a stage hypnotist, as a performance hypnotist, that's our jobs. Our jobs is to be great advocates for hypnosis
Yes.
and for how it's such a powerful tool for change.
I think
Like
that's
you,
the most refreshing thing I've heard in ages. Yeah, that feels really good to hear that.
yeah, you said it at the beginning. It's quite right. A lot of hypnotherapists get clients that come in, and a lot of them got the preconceptions from the 80s or the internet or movies, and it's like, can you clock like? Will you make me clock like a chicken? Will you make me dance like Elvis? So it's stage hypnosis that has brought it to their attention.
Yeah.
And so it might not be a necessarily positive hypnosis show that they've seen. So as stage hypnotists, if we're out there, and here's the flip side to that as well. If we're out there doing that in an entertaining and funny way, that message goes so much deeper, and people go, "Wow, that's a powerful tool." The other side is sometimes I have seen like hypnotherapists, non-entertainers, do stage hypnosis, and I remember seeing one person who started their demonstration by saying, "This is real hypnosis. It's not like the stage stuff you see on the internet. What you're going to see is real hypnosis. None of this is fake." And
Mm.
then went into like a 40-minute lecture on hypnosis and hypnotherapy,
Oh no.
and the audience was bored to death.
Oh
So
no. They
yeah,
put them into a trance with boredom.
exactly. And so they come away feeling like, oh, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's what it is. And so, yeah, we've kind of got to, we deliver a powerful message in a fun way.
I think there is a lot of, I'm going to get into trouble now. I think there is a lot of ego in the hip
Oh,
world.
yeah,
A lot of I'm better than you, and there's
yeah.
a lot of putting each other down to elevate themselves, which just makes no sense to me at all. Because we're all, we all just want people to be happy. We all
Oh,
just want people to be healthy, and entertainment and joy and laughter and fun, like you say, is a wonderful way to demonstrate the ultimate amazing power
yeah.
of the mind, the human mind, the amazing human mind that we have, and the world that we can create around us by having a slightly different perception of how we see things. It's just incredible. And that's
Mm,
something we should collectively be getting excited about, and we should be
yes.
collectively elevating each other and educating each other and cheering each other on. And I do think there's a shift. And
Mm,
I do think it's coming away from that kind of old ego way of doing things.
yeah. It's a weird one because like a successful hypnotherapist will see a client. Let's just say for quitting smoking.
Yeah.
We'll see a client for quitting smoking. The client will quit smoking, and they'll maybe at a party at some point, someone will go, "Oh, I'm thinking of quitting smoking. How did you do it?" And they'll go, "Oh, I went to see a hypnotherapist. Is that real? Oh, da da da. I felt really relaxed." And that's it. A stage hypnotist that puts on a good show, people that are watching that, like let's say there's 100 people in the audience. That's 100 people that are going to go away by going, "Oh, that's a really viable thing. Something is real about that. That's profound. That can help people change." Whereas a successful hypnotherapist, it only spreads by one or two people. And so I think stage hypnotists, I always say, like after my show, I'll always tell people, listen, if you're looking to make a positive change, then go see a local hypnotherapist. Because it's the best way to do it. I don't see that many clients myself now. I don't have the time or the patience for them. Um, um, but it's kind of like it's weird because a lot of hypnotherapists, it's not the other way around. So a hypnotherapist won't see a client and go, "Oh, there's a stage hypnotist performing in the local town. You should go and see him." Or even, and very rarely it happens that I'll get a message saying, "Oh, I see you're performing in my town. Could I come along to the show?" Any hypnotherapist that wants to come along to my show, they're more than welcome. And they're more than welcome to put their business card out on tables if they come and speak to me about it, because I want to promote hypnosis. It's the most amazing tool in the world. And the more people that know about it, the better. And so, yeah, it's still on the edges of the fringe. It needs to be in the limelight.
I love the empowering journey that we take clients on.
Oh, yeah,
I think that that's where there's a disconnect between reality and what people understand and what people think about hypnosis, because it's very person centered, it's client centered,
mm,
it's about getting what's already within you like out more
yeah,
visible, feeling stronger. It's a really powerfully empowering process. And I think perhaps the old stage ways of doing things look disempowering
yeah,
because they're being perhaps made to do things that make them look really foolish,
yeah,
as opposed to perhaps things that people can really relate to. They go, "Oh, I do that at home," or "Oh, I'm a bit like that as well." And
yeah,
look at them doing it as a part of a story or a performance. I think it was the shoe one I saw you doing the other week,
yes.
where I had
And
the
it's one of my favorite routines that for a couple of reasons. Because on stage, it's weird. The first routine is kind of generally eyes closed because I
yeah,
want the people on stage to forget about the audience. I want them to get into that flow state. And then we do a couple of silly routines. So I think my first routine generally after that, I do mix it up a lot, but generally after that is the like uncontrollable laughter. Which again is one of my favorites because I always say to people, like, I want you to watch their faces because laughter is a real emotional response. When someone's faking laughing, you can see it. So I
yeah,
want you to look at their faces and I make them laugh. And then we ramp it up a little bit and I go, if I touch you on the shoulder, you'll realize you've got a really weird, unusual, maybe snorty, embarrassing laugh. You'll not be kind of embarrassed by it, but you will be you'll find it a bit weird. And it's so weird when they respond to that. What's great about that as a routine is if somebody's laughing, it makes laughter's contagious.
yeah,
So
it is.
even if they're only very lightly into hypnosis, they start to laugh and it builds up, which compounds the hypnosis anyway. But the shoe routine is the first routine where they realize they're hypnotized.
Yeah,
Up until then, in their mind, they're like, "Oh no, I was just
just
going
laughing
along with
along.
that. I
Yeah,
was just, I had my eyes closed playing the piano. I was just going along with that. I'm in control." And the shoe phone, I kind of go on the count of three. You've got a new Apple shoe phone. Yeah, all the patter. 3 to 1, eyes open, wide awake. And you can see about half of them will open their eyes and then look at me as if to go, not,
no, what's
not really,
happening? It's
not
not
really
working.
working. And then the trigger comes on and they go, and they have to answer it. And for me, I love it because there's two types. There's those that are just there in their space, they are on the phone. And
Yeah,
then there's those that are still, that in their mind, they're completely awake. I mean, they are
yes,
as well, but they're completely awake, but they're compelled to answer the shoe. So they know it's their shoe. they know it, but they can't help themselves. And for me, that's the better person on stage because it gives me the opportunity to say to the audience, now imagine someone that says, I'm not going to smoke. But then the adverts come on
Yeah.
at Coronation Street and they reach down and light a cigarette, or someone that says, I'm going to start eating healthily. And then they open the fridge door and automatically reach in and get something that's not necessarily good for them. So that's exactly what's going on. And I'll point to the person, I'll go, this person knows exactly what's going on, don't you? And they'll go, yeah. And he goes, but you can't stop it, can you? And he's like, no. And I go, and there you go. And so it's done in a fun way, but then we're
Yeah.
just slipping in that little message at the end as well, which just really helps it. But yeah, I've slightly changed the shoe foam, and it was a troll on YouTube helped me with it. And they kind of said like, how disgusting is it that you've got people putting their shoes near their faces?
Oh
And
dear.
I thought, do you know what?
Hygiene police.
Yeah, I thought, do you know what? You're absolutely right. And so
Right.
I've changed it now. So, and now, and again, it just modernizes the routine. And I'll go, you've got a new smartphone. And then automatically with a smartphone, you hold it here now
Yeah,
rather than
that's
here.
right.
And so, and that then led into new routines around that. So I
It
get
I
them
must
taken.
have it must have been the smartphone routine that I was giggling at the other day because there was an older guy who was like bald and
Yeah.
he was looking at his phone like he wasn't quite sure how to use it. And I thought, I'm looking at my dad using a smartphone here.
Yeah.
Working, how do I open it up? How do I find the my friends on it? How do
Yeah.
I work this? And I thought for him, he doesn't know how to use a phone. He has taken
Yeah.
his story, what he tells himself, and he's applied that to this imaginary phone situation. I thought,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. Even those tiny little nuances
Yeah.
of real
It's
life really kind of present there.
And that's where it is. It's their story that they bring to their
Yeah.
performance that make it. I always find it weird when new stage hypnotists copy routines,
Mm,
they copy the big chunk of the routine, they copy the shoe phone element of it. They
yeah.
miss all the nuances and all the little bits. They're the bits that make it funny. The person's response to the shoe phone is
Hmm.
what's funny, not somebody answering their shoe phone. And so
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people miss. I always say the magic in stage hypnosis is the little bits of glue that hold the routines together. It's a silly bit. The shoe routine turns into a pet routine. So the line is on the count of three, the hypnotist is going to stamp his foot. When the hypnotist stamps his foot, it's no longer a shoe phone. In fact, when the hypnotist stamps his foot, you will realize that that is the most beautiful, most exotic, most cutest, fluffiest animal you could ever possibly imagine owning as a pet. Stamps the foot, they stroke the pet. I do that routine and I'm always looking for one response when I go along and ask them what pet they've got. And I only do it because I want to give the audience a look. I'm looking for a female, generally older, when I go, and what have you got there? And someone will always go cat, dog, lion, panda, giraffe. But
Yeah.
always someone that says rabbit. And I do it just so I can go, because I do this to everyone. You love that dog, don't you? Yes, give him tickle his belly. You love your giraffe, don't you? Yeah, tickle its belly. Just so I can go. And she goes, what have you got there? And they go, rabbit. And I go, and you love your rabbit, don't you? And then just so I can say that, stop, look at the audience in a disapproving look, and there'll always be someone that sniggers at that line.
Of course there
And
is. I'm sniggering away
exactly,
here.
exactly. And then I'll stop and I always make it look like it's the first time I've heard it. And I'll always, no, 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 not like that. And that's the bit that's funny. It's the woman that says that she loves her rabbit.
Oh, love
And
me rabbit.
exactly. And it always gets someone in the audience, and then I'll always call the audience member out on it. And that brings the audience into the show as well. And so
And that's
that's
just another layer of storytelling, isn't it?
exactly.
And
And
that's
that's,
exactly what we're doing in the therapy room. People bring
yes,
in their stories, they bring in their experiences, they take what we're suggesting to them, the metaphors
yes.
that we're using with them, and they personalize them. They add in all the little nuances. And that's why I always talk about being vague in the
Mm,
therapy room and allow the client to develop that story because they're gonna do it anyway. So
yeah.
don't guide them too much or don't kind of lead them in that way. Just kind of allow them to take what you're giving them and add their own story
And I think,
to
yeah.
it.
And I think a lot of a lot, I'm very general of me.
Yeah, yeah,
Some
many. Oh.
hypnotherapists, um, you know, when they're, especially newer hypnotherapists, when
Mm.
they're insecure about the level of trance and all of this, whether
Oh
they,
yeah, I
yeah,
know. It's
it becomes
terrifying, isn't
it
it?
becomes a one-way
Got to get the
street.
technique right, got
Yeah,
to get the depth of
to go through
trance
this, go through
right.
that, and it's like no, work with the client, work with the person that is on your stage in front of you, interweave their reality with yours, and
Mm-hmm.
you're on that journey together then, rather than you barking suggestions and commands at them,
Yeah,
and
work
it's
with
one
what you
way.
see and play with that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
embrace who's in front of you. I love that. And recognize that they're going to come in with their stories and
yep,
layers of what they're
yep,
bringing in, and it's that we're working with. Your story is fascinating. I'm going to go back to your confidence thing because as therapists, we are also our own marketers. And
mm,
there's the whole you got to build a rapport with your client base and all of that. And I'm totally about let's just market it without my face on it. Sometimes I can just use my voice because it's my voice that people are going to work with.
yeah.
You don't have to be present, but there's still something really nice about being able to go live on social media or create a video of your face so people go, that's the person who I can connect with, I can relate with, I can get to know. We do need to be public, we need to be
Yeah.
seen by people. And
It's
for
like, yeah,
millions of reasons I could go into, being seen is something that a lot of new hypnotherapists are absolutely terrified. They don't feel like they can be seen. They don't feel like they can speak in public. I'm completely in awe of your. I'm just gonna do a stage show, and I've never done one in a biker pub story. Talk to me about your journey that you've been on to build your own confidence.
confidence is a weird one because I didn't know I was confident until somebody once said to me somewhere, it's okay for you, you're dead confident. And I'm like, I didn't realize I was. And I think a lot of it is it's what reference have we got in the past? So
Mhm.
I now know that yes, I still have excitement before I go on stage. I love that feeling. But I know it's excitement. I know through repetition that when I walk out there, I can talk and it will be okay. And I know that because many times in the past now, I've spoken at conferences in front of people. I've done it hundreds of thousands of times. I've performed hundreds of. I know that if something goes wrong on stage, I know I'll deal with it. When we talk about stuff going wrong on stage, I've literally had everything happen. I don't want to jinx that, but I've had my pants pulled down on stage. Everything.
No.
Oh, I was in a pub in Crewe, and I'm on this stage, and literally they snuck up behind me, grabbed hold of my trousers, and just pulled. And this is in the pre-talk of the show.
Oh
And
no.
I would love to say that I had some witty retort and won the audience back, and it was a brilliant show. I died 1,000 deaths on that stage.
Oh my goodness.
But here's the thing, I got to the end of it, and physically I was okay. And so you think, "Do you know what? If you can live through that, you can live through anything." And so I think that's where the confidence comes from on stage. I think it's because I've done it repeatedly, and you kind of go, oh, the bad stuff that's happened, it happened and we dealt with it. The challenges are the obstacles where we grew our muscles and our strength. And it's exactly the same with like going live. So I was forced to go live with the pandemic, same as everybody else.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
now I look back at it and think going live was the best thing that happened to me. That pandemic was amazing because by going live on the likes of YouTube, TikTok, and any of the platforms, because it's a big barrier for a lot of people, all of a sudden, let's say you're a local hypnotherapist in a local town seeing local clients. There's quite a few of us out there, and so there's a lot of noise in that marketplace. The moment you set yourself aside and just step up a little bit, all of a
Mhm.
sudden you are more noticeable. And by doing so, you're kind of making like a great loop of public accountability. So where you kind of go, do you know what? Every Monday I'm going to go live and do motivational Monday or whatever it is. And so you're telling people, I'm going to turn up on this day. This is what we're going to talk about. And here's the thing, this is who I am. So
Yeah.
people that watch my lives or see my shows, I put as much as me into that as possible.
Yeah.
You know, the imperfections, the stuff that's not quite right, all of that stuff, because that way people go, oh, he's real. That's why
Yeah.
I love live streaming over video, because video, as great as they are as well, we have to do it. But video, you can polish it and you make it perfect and you can do it again and you can edit it and you can put it up again. That can be crippling for some people. For me, it used to be crippling because I wanted it to be perfect
I
first.
know.
Yeah. When you go live, you just go live. And if stuff goes wrong, if a light falls down or the microphone cuts out or any of this stuff happens, you deal with it because that's what we do in real life.
Yeah.
If we met in Costa in town and we're having a conversation, sometimes we get the words wrong, sometimes we mumble, sometimes stuff happens. And I think audiences really connect with that. It becomes authentic. And so for me, I think that's where the confidence comes from. It's just doing repeated reps of going live as often as I can, doing videos as often as I can, and doing shows as often as I can. And
Hmm.
that's where confidence comes from. Most people watching this will be 100% confident in how to tie their shoelaces because they do it all the time.
Done it.
Exactly. They'll be confident in how to make a cup of tea. Saying that in my friends group, some of them aren't that confident in making a good cup of tea. Some people need lessons.
Like, what
Um,
is that?
what exactly? Yeah, I have a friend who has instant coffee, but will have the milk in second rather than the milk in first, and I'm like, what? And I used to have a friend that would put the milk in first with the tea bag, and then you're like, this is not right. But
It's the
yeah,
tea
so
bag on the saucer that makes me like, what's that all about?
yeah,
And then it makes me say things like, you need to put the tea bag in, and then there's too many sexual jokes on the end.
exactly. You've got to put it in to make it work. Yeah.
Absolutely. Me, dear me.
Exactly. But again, that's where confidence comes from. It's it's knowing that environment where you're comfortable and safe to say those things.
Yeah,
That's confidence. People look at it like this weird mythical journey to be had where confidence will be found at the end.
at the end. Yeah.
Exactly. And
So
it's like,
it's about getting out there and doing it and
yes,
having evidence that you can.
yes,
It's reflecting on the evidence.
yeah,
There's this whole story, isn't there, about how excitement and fear are the
100%.
same kind of response. It's just the perception.
Yeah.
When you're getting out there and you're in that, am I excited or am I in a state of fear? What are the words that you say to yourself to just get you into an excitement space?
I have a little bit of ritual
Right.
because I realized over the years that my self-talk goes through the roof the closer and closer we get to the stage. I remember, again, I do waffle, but I remember the first cruise contract I ever got. And again, all the nerves came back because cruise contracts are like the best thing for stage hypnotists. Everyone's after a cruise contract.
Mhm.
It was the first time the ship had docked in Hamburg and we were going up to the Norwegian fjords and they're paying silly money for me to be there. And the cruise directors come to me and like you're on board for like 10 days and you do one show or two shows but one night. And the cruise director said to me 2 days before the show after sound check, he's gone, do you speak any other languages, Grant? And I'm like, no. And he went, 80% of the passengers are retired Germans. So speak slowly. And so I know that the agent is judging whether they're going to give me any work by this show. First show happens, do all the visual stuff, the audience is all involved. And then literally everybody that came up stage, sprechen Sie Deutsch, sprechen Sie Deutsch, sprechen Sie Deutsch. Nobody went under. It was a horrific show.
Oh no.
But I've got to do a second show later that night. The
Oh,
talk in my head, and the cruise director stood at the side of the stage as well because he's seen this terrible first show. Everything in the side of my head was all like, you're never going to work again. This is all of that horrible stuff. And so I realized that I was in my head, and those negative kind of self-talk, those nerves, the fear was in here. And so I started just touching things around me. So now that's what I do. If I start to feel a bit nervous, I'll touch the walls and feel what it feels like. And what it does is it takes me from being in here to out here. And then I'll realize that actually, no, I'm just excited. And I think that's where it is. Fear and excitement goes from being that self-talk to pushing it out here into energy that I'm going to need on stage. And I'm pleased to say the second show was a great show. And again, before I go on stage, I'll always mentally rehearse all of my wins because I want them to know when I go out there, I'm giving it everything I've got because I've learned over the years that if I'm a bit nervous and I think it's not going to work, because you're told people of a certain age aren't very good at hypnosis, people like this aren't, all of that is just, it's all bull. None of it is
Yeah.
true. If you're out there with confidence on stage, they will go into hypnosis. You
Yeah.
hypnotize yourself first. And so that for me, that's where that comes from. It's just taking that fear and making it energy because I need that energy on stage.
I love
I
it.
wouldn't
I
mind
get
like an
asked
idiot.
all the time, can anyone be hypnotized or does it require a certain level of suggestibility? And we know that there are scientific suggestibility scales that we can go look at that basically say there's all these barriers and you can't put people. And I'm like, just forget about all that aside, all that to one side, because it's about confidence. I
Yeah.
watched a podcast a little while ago and it was a guy who was a CIA intelligence person,
Mhm.
American intelligence person. He's got big long hair. I think he's fab. Well, I can't remember his name, but I love watching him talk. Uh,
Yeah.
and he was saying it's all about confidence. He was with a mate in a bar, and his mate bought him a bottle of whiskey as a gift. And they were like, oh, really nice bottle of whiskey. Excellent. Let's get a couple of glasses and we'll crack open this bottle of whiskey. Got a couple of glasses, sat down, cracked open the bottle. The bartender came over and said, you can't drink that in here. You've got to buy the drinks from in the bar. You can't bring your own whiskey into a bar, which is kind of, I would imagine, a rule in every bar in the world. And he said, it's not whiskey, it's a gift. And he went, all right then, and just walked away.
Yeah.
And he said, I didn't hypnotize him. I didn't use any magic language. I didn't do any of that. I just confidently said, it's not what you think it is. It's something else.
Yeah.
And it was the confidence that when he goes, okay, then that's fine. And they just
Yeah.
continued to drink their
Yeah.
entire bottle of whiskey in this lovely pub without actually paying for any drinks in the bar. I think I'm sure they will have done, but it's the confidence as well. And I think I've recently upgraded my foundation in clinical hypnosis because to include more
Mm.
confidence postures, more confidence building. I talk about no trance work. Forget about it. Like, we're going to do no trance
Yeah.
work today.
Yeah.
We're going to work on building rapport. We're going to work on open eyes. We're going to work on one. We're going to work on pacing. We're going to work on leading. We're going to work on just saying what you see and then
Yeah.
delivering a suggestion that you know is in alignment with what the client wants to achieve. Let's forget about all of the suggestibility scales. Let's forget about all of the trance levels and all of that. No trance hypnosis, just confidence, and let's just get comfortable talking.
Yeah. 100%. And
And the difference with my students has been
yeah,
incredible.
I think that's what the client wants. When someone
Mm,
joins me on stage or sees me as a client, they want they want that confidence. They want someone to go, "Oh, that's a simple problem. There you go. It's changed. Thank you." Delivered with enough confidence. We put loads of ritual around that, which is what we call hypnosis. We put all that ritual within there, but we
yeah,
want to say it with enough conviction on multiple levels that their unconscious, subconscious, inner mind, whatever we want to call it, their inner voice goes, "Oh yeah, you're right. I now no longer smoke." So
yeah,
that's what we do. When they come to us with issues, it's because they something else has taken control over them. Their addiction, their anxiety, their thing has got a hold on them. They need somebody else with enough conviction and confidence to go, don't worry about that. I will help.
So it's your confidence,
Yeah,
and your belief in yourself and your ability just to have a nice normal
yeah,
chat, I think, isn't it? That's going
yeah,
to really
yeah.
help them to deal
Not
with it.
be not being worried about are they going to be able to be hypnotized or not.
Yes.
If they go into trance, and if what if they don't go into trance? What if they go in and I test it and they pop their eyes open and they go, oh, I'm not hypnotized, and all of these things are running through your head. And I believe we project that stuff. If it's in there, we project it. Whereas if we know none of that matters, we're going to do some hypnosis, we're going to do some stuff, we're going to make that change happen. The client picks up on that. It's all plain sailing after that.
Yeah, absolutely. You must have had times though when people were on the stage and you thought they're not they're not in
Yeah.
trance. They're not in trance. Did that matter then?
You get it. And again, it depends on the person. So sometimes with people, there's a bit in the beginning of the show when I believe you see them, I call it the hypnotic sigh. You kind of see them go, the shoulders drop and everything. They just let go. I think it's because in their mind they go, oh, I'm safe. I'm not hypnotized. Ah. And so some people don't think they're hypnotized and then they think they're playing along. And then you look at them and they're kind of like, do you know what? With a little bit more encouragement or a little bit less encouragement, they will actually slip into hypnosis. And so
Right.
sometimes you'll spot someone, you kind of go, do you know what? You're half in and out. You think you're not hypnotized and you're going to try and keep a bit of control. I know if I take my foot off the gas with that person, naturally they
Mm.
might go into hypnosis because the pressure's off. If they're there to deliberately kind of like your back's turned and they pull silly faces and to try and deliberately make it look daft, then I'll try and get rid of them. And again, I'll try and do it in a respectful way, um, because everybody watching a show will always spot that person that's not really
Mm.
hypnotized. And
Mm-mm.
it then undermines everybody else on stage because it's like if you leave the faker up there whilst they're being daft, then it makes everything else look daft. I don't like hypnotists that do magic just before a hypnosis show. Don't mix the two together because when you do that, it makes the hypnosis a magic trick and people go, it's all just magic now. And so for me, it undermines it. Don't get me wrong, I know some great magicians that do some great hypnosis shows, but they'll always have an interval between one and the other to separate it. So yeah, but then sometimes, especially at the beginning of a show, if someone is deliberately messing around and they think I don't know that they're messing around, and you spot them straight away. Um, I will play on that a little bit. So I generally have like sometimes I'll have the guy stood at the front of the stage looking at a light, and I'm doing that because I'm watching their body language. If I see someone that's faking it at this point or not concentrating the way that I do, I can then, because I know that they're faking it, I'll then make them do stuff that is deliberately fake and silly, like doing like I'm a little teapot and just put your hand there, just put this hand there. And then I'll move out the way and I know he's looking at the audience, but then I'll look at the audience and acknowledge that I know. And then so we have a bit
That
of
is lacking
fun with
about.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll go, and there you go, proof that you don't need hypnosis to make a drunk person do something stupid and then send them back.
That's brilliant. So it's
Yeah.
really, I think that there is a certain deeper level of confidence there to be really honest and authentic
Yeah.
what's happening
Yeah.
and then step up and use that.
Yeah.
I think that's I think that must really enhance your clinical practice.
I
I
think,
imagine it would.
yeah, well, I think once you stop worrying about the hypnosis, you know
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Mm,
That's just, I mean, like when you breathe out, you're going to breathe in. It's going to happen. The pain to be there, especially in a clinical setting, that
yes, they
that
want
that
to be,
all
they
the
want to
embarrassing stuff's not there. They want to make a change.
mm,
So, concentrate on the delivery of those suggestions and being able to, and this is where I think a lot of hypnotherapists would really benefit from stage training, deliver those suggestions with real conviction,
mm,
with body language, because your body language itself is a suggestion. And so on
yeah.
stage, we're aware of our position on stage, the lighting on stage, all of these things matter. In therapy, we kind of think we just need to, as long as we sit there and we've got like a lava lamp and some incense burning in the background, and some whale mating music going off. Everything will be fine. But kind of think, do you know what? Imagine if the words are effective, imagine how effective they're going to be if your body language is there as well, and you're really delivering that suggestion. And so all of those things again just compound it. And so the person goes away rather than going away going, "Well, I felt relaxed, but I don't know if I was hypnotized or not." To going away by going, "Holy shit,
Something
something
definitely
profound
happened.
just happened."
Yeah, yeah.
And ultimately that's when they make the change, when that penny just drops and they go, "Oh, I was hypnotized and then changed."
Yeah. I love what you're saying about how the real communication is with the body language,
Oh,
with
100%.
confidence, with real conviction, and also recognizing when a client is not in a deep state of hypnosis. They maybe were or have elements of focus or flow, but they're not quite there yet. Then and what you instead of leaning in and throwing more suggestions at them and more suggestibility tests or trying
Yeah,
to get more control, actually leaning back and taking your
yeah,
foot off the gas and kind of just allowing what is there to
yeah,
just develop by itself without pressure, without fear, but still holding that confident space.
yes.
I think I've
And
just learned
that's
something
that's
amazing right
that's
there.
the magic there.
Mm,
A lot, again, overgeneralizing, but sometimes when you think that it's not working, you then start to panic and you go into that panic mode. You start throwing more stuff at them. You're then projecting that insecurity. So you're projecting that, oh, it's not working. And we know when that feeling is there, that's only going to bring them out of that state. Whereas to kind of go, everything that is happening is what is meant to happen, and
mm.
taking a step back shows an element of control. And so, yeah, I think it gives them the space to breathe and to go deeper.
Yeah. Please teach hypnotherapists more things.
Yeah,
Because I think we get so wrapped up in scripts and strategy, and obviously there's ethical practice and working with, the unique client and ensuring that the depth is right. And actually, it's a lot to do with I'm really confident. I really believe in this. I really believe that it's going to help you. And actually just working, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say what I see and I'm gonna follow what I'm feeling, and I'm gonna take the foot off the gas if I'm getting a sense that you're a bit uncomfortable, and I'm gonna help you go with it if I can see it's
yeah,
working for you. And it's about just really like working with the person in front of you instead of getting
100%.
wrapped up.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen it a few times where, like, I've seen other people's shows, and the person or people that are in his committee or her committee, that are there, they're already there. They're already
yeah,
in hypnosis, but yet you've been taught that you're going to go through this process and this process and this process, and you run the danger of bringing them out of that wonderful state because you're going through your process.
we've not
I,
done that bit yet.
yeah, there's a couple of clients back in the day, and I remember one of them. Was it quit smoking, or was it a conflict? I can't remember what the issue was, but we'd spoke a couple of times at a business networking thing, and I always joked about there was a video at the time online. I'll not promote it because it's not material I do anymore. Back in the day, I used to do more adult material. I don't do that anymore. I don't think it's good for hypnosis. But I was telling him about a certain handshake, and it was a
I
long
don't know
time
what
ago.
you're talking about.
Exactly. Um, and really interestingly, finished the meeting, had the chat. The next time I saw him, that was his issue. He had let's say, a very specific issue for men.
With a
Um,
handshake.
well, yeah. So the next time I saw him, he's gone, "I don't know what you did to me." I'm like, "How do you mean?" He went, "Was it the handshake?" I'm like, "How do you mean?" He went, "Don't play coy." He went, "I've been suffering from this for some time, and I was
Yeah,
thinking about booking in for a session with you about that." He says, and there's something you said, and when you shook my hand, he says it just felt weird. And he says, and it's gone. Now I'm like, if that's a good thing for you, then I'll take all the credit for it. He says, but I just shook your hand. There was no hypnosis there. Whatever it is that you were going through, you must have just let it go.
Literally
And
Viagra handshakes. Is that what we're
exactly.
talking about here?
Well, luckily it didn't happen when he was shaking my hand. That would have been weird. But because that was his belief system. And there was a girl who messages me every now and then. There used to be a bar in Huddersfield called Iocus. She wanted to know if she could be hypnotized. I did a couple of suggestibility tests with her. And I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you, I didn't think she'd be a good candidate for hypnosis. So we did the suggestibility test. I told her she'd feel really good. That was that. About a year later, she sent me a message. And again, same thing. I don't know what you did to me, but I have not smoked a cigarette since. And
Oh,
it's like, I'm like, I didn't do anything. That's all you. And I think sometimes if they're ready for that change, you could shake chicken bones and throw them on the floor and go, you are now changed.
yeah.
They will make that change.
To be honest, I've had similar. I worked with a lady for weight management and I'd only done the consultation. And I said, come back next week and we'll get stuck in. And if you need a hypnotic gastric band, we might consider that a bit further down the line, but let's just have a session. And she came back in and she said, don't know what you did to me last week, but I walked down the chocolate bar aisle in Asda and I could smell dog shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's not even something I would think of to create. It was all her own mind, all her
Yep.
own doing, all her own subconscious. She was repulsed by the chocolate aisle in Asda, and I was
Yes.
just like, absolutely, I'll take all that credit for that. Yes, of course,
Yep.
it's all
Yeah,
fantastic
exactly.
program,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I
And
didn't.
that's it.
It's
And
all
that's
in
and
your mind.
that step to
Mm,
change is there. And
incredible.
if we're not focused on them, we
Yeah,
miss it.
yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Mm.
love it. What's the worst thing, the most terrifying thing that's happened on stage, and what did you learn from it?
Most, not say terrifying thing that's happened on stage. Uh,
I don't know if the trousers being pulled
yeah.
down was probably along those lines. That's pretty terrifying.
When you consider that they say like the biggest fear is literally having that happen to you, people have that as nightmares. That was horrific.
Mm-mm.
Um, on stage was, and here's the thing, people lie. That's the lesson from it. So I've done the pre-talk, done all the things. Do not volunteer if you couldn't see the doctor for any serious medical or mental condition, or gone through all of that lot. I'm big on that because
Yeah.
it instills a confidence in the audience.
Mm.
It was around about Christmassy time. Not my particular type of venue, but they had budget, so I was there.
Yeah.
Um, they've got a hen party in, so I think I've got four girls, two guys, and a girl. So I'm doing the beginning bit of the show, hypnotizing them, and I can see this guy's really good. So I do a drop back on him. Sometimes I do a drop back because it's dramatic, and so he's laid out on the floor. I've gone on to the girl, done a handshake induction with her. She's gone down. I'm just about to start on this other group of girls here, and I've looked down, and his hand's shaking. Now, for me, if I
Mm.
see anything like that, I'm bringing them round. I'm getting rid of them, if you know what I mean. It's I don't need a show enough to have an abreaction on stage. In therapy, you can deal with an abreaction and
Yeah,
it's all
of
brilliant.
course.
No audience wants to see that for 20 minutes. So I see a shaky hand and I'm like, right, that's not what it should be. So I'm going to give him some extra attention. And I'm like, oh, 3 to 1 eyes open wide awake. All suggestions completely removed. 3 to 1 eyes open wide awake. Non-response whatsoever. At this point, this venue had been quite rowdy up until this point. At this point, everyone is silent and watching what's going on stage. The pressure is now on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, on the count of five, you're in a wonderful place right now, but on the count of five, you'll open your eyes feeling wonderful. Five, four, three, two, one. I've looked at him. It was like a scene from a zombie film. Is bolt upright like that and just gone, and then he's just staring straight forward and he's not responding to anything. The room is now, you could hear a pin drop.
I bet.
The room is silent. I'm like, I'm never going to work again. And at which point I just heard his girlfriend say, I told him not to volunteer. He had a brain tumor removed 2 months ago. And I'm like, what on earth? So, I mean, we brought him round, we got him a glass of water, made sure he was okay. This is going on for 20 minutes now because I have to make sure that he is okay.
Yeah, of course you do.
Not realizing that everyone else on stage is still on stage. The group of girls in the party that were stood at the back of the stage where it was, are stood there petrified because it looks like I've pretty much killed this guy. But he's now
Really
okay.
hoping that wasn't going to be the end of that story. And then he did.
Exactly. So
Ah.
literally, I'm like, da, da, da. He's okay, everything's fine. I then turned to them, and part of my language, in unison, they almost just went, "Fuck this," and walked off. And it was like, that for me was terrifying because
Oh,
you realize then that even when you say, don't volunteer for this, don't volunteer for that, I've had people say to me, oh, I went under really well under hypnosis, but you said if I was epileptic, I couldn't be hypnotized. I'm like, no. I said, if you're epileptic, you shouldn't volunteer. And they're
yeah,
like, oh. So a lot of that's the scary side of hypnosis because I have a
be really clear.
responsibility. Yeah, I have a responsibility to do a good, safe, and ethical show. The scariest thing that's happened to me in the field of hypnosis or during my career is the show at Balmoral.
Really.
Weirdly, I've got the contact. They've asked me to go up there. The whole way through, I'm thinking this is a bit of a joke. But the story behind it briefly is the Queen back then puts on a shoot up at Balmoral, and the Royal Scots Guard help her with the beating. It's all very nice. As a reward, she puts on a ball for them at Balmoral in her kind of in a dining room. And they've asked me to be the entertainment. So of course I said yes. So I've gone up there, and I remember I've got to the gates, and there's the police there and everything, and I'm like, oh, Grant Saunders, hypnotist, and he's gone down the list, and he's like on the radio. A police escort has come to meet me, and then I've had to follow this black police car through the grounds, and every time the road moved, there was like an armed police officer there. It's amazing. Gets there, does the show. Here's the thing: like Balmoral Castle is up in Inverness,
Mm,
in the Cairngorms, beautiful
gorgeous
place.
area.
Oh, it really is. This is on the Saturday night. Sunday morning, I've got to be at a place called the Manorial Barn in Rotherham. Not quite as grand.
No.
No. But the performer in me took over because I've done the show, great show, done the show. But then afterwards, the Scots Guards, as a thank you, want to bring all the bagpipers and all the drummers out.
Oh,
And
lovely.
so it's like, I'm like, this is amazing. But in my mind, I'm like, I've got an 11-hour drive. I've literally got to leave now and go straight to the venue. And so I want to get out of there. But
Mm.
you're doing the whole thing of like, this is lovely, it's polite. And it was. So that's finished. And I'm like, right, I need to get the car, get my stuff in the car, and I need to go. So I've literally run out the side door, jumped in the car, pulled it up against the side door, jumped out. As I've jumped out, I am tackled to the floor. Armed police. One thing you can't do when the Queen's in residence is pull your car up like next to like where she is, and then jump out and then run. And so literally, like I'm like my partner at the time was like screaming, like thinking I was going to get
Oh,
shot.
no.
I am pinned to the floor, and I think it was about autumny time anyway. And I was just like, what on earth? And you're trying to explain it I'm not a terrorist. And at the time, the country was on like high terror alert as well. And it was like, yeah. And I always joke, it was very scary. I love that it happened because it's a great story to tell
It's an
afterwards.
amazing story to
Oh
tell.
yeah, but I always joke about I never got my by royal appointment just because they thought I was a terrorist in the middle of Balmoral. Yeah, but that was really scary because they had real guns,
Yeah, real guns. Oh my, and the
real guns.
Queen. How cool is that? That's a brilliant story. I love it.
Oh, but it's funny 'cause I never eat before a show because of my excitement.
Yes.
I never eat before a show. And I remember they've kind of gone, "Oh, would you like some food?" And I've gone, "Oh no, I'm okay, thank you." And my partner's gone, "I think you'll find the Queen chef is good enough for Sir."
They're only the best food. Only the best food
Exactly.
for me. Amazing. You are clearly an incredible mentor, but who do you think's been your like some of your biggest influences? Who are the mentors who have really shaped your approach to hypnosis?
I think as you go through, you meet different
Mm,
mentors and different people that change who you are along the way, and you take a little bit of each one of those with you.
yeah,
Um, there was a great UK hypnotist called Jonathan Chase, great direct hypnotist, loved him. Became very much a grumpy old man, and I loved that for him as well. In the States, I've got to say, Terry Stokes is just, he epitomizes stage hypnosis of its golden era. And he is the smoothest gentleman in the world. He's retired now, but he was in Vegas last year or the year before, and I remember like talking with him at breakfast. And at breakfast, he's still got a three-piece suit on and a tie. And I kind of think
amazing.
you're retired, I'll say mid-70s. You don't need the money, you don't need to impress anybody. But for him, it's important to still dress sharp and look good.
I love
Um,
that.
and and he has a thing that I love that like a lot of hypnotists will say, you don't have a bad show, you just have a bad audience. And Terry goes, no, it's your job as a performer that wherever that audience is, whatever they've gone through in their day, an argument with the wife, stuck in traffic, wherever they are, it's your job to reach out to them and bring them to you. It's selfish to stand there and go, this is my show, you either like it or you don't. And so that's a great thing I've got from Terry. But there's so many great people in the field of hypnosis, and only recently they've all started to actually work together, especially on the performance side of things.
Yes.
Um, as for hypnotists that I think are people to really look up to, Nadine Manuel, phenomenal stage hypnotist in America, female. She runs a group mentoring female stage hypnotists because it is a very much male-dominated field, but she puts production into the show and really makes it work well. And a guy called Christopher Caress, who's a Sheffield lad he's like the king of cruises. He hates when I say that, but again, puts real levels of production in the show. And I think that's what we've got to do. Even if your stage is your therapy room, I think still put production in it. What do the lights mean? What does the position of where the chairs are? What does everything in that room mean as a suggestion? So yeah,
Mm,
so there are a few of my mentors.
I love that. I love that. I love that. What is next for you?
I don't know.
An
It's
holiday, I think. You need an holiday.
do you know what? Weirdly, because I'm lucky that I get to travel with this as work. A lot of my friends do joke about the fact I'm always on holiday, and it's like so always work. I do love the idea of not doing anything for 2 weeks. I just don't know if I could do that. So it's for me, it was weird. I was always very ambitious with it, but I had a business partner in America called Jim Kellner. Jim was a good inspiration for me. We had the same work ethic.
Yeah.
He passed away on Boxing Day this year, and
No.
that took a lot of my my motivation away for this year, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was like, what is next for me? And Jim, very luckily, he reached a lot of his peaks just before he passed, which I was very fortunate enough for that. And so I don't know. I think I want to slow down on the performing side of things, and I do want to kind of focus a lot on, helping people with hypnosis, not necessarily hypnotherapy, but more like hypno development and hypno coaching and
Mm,
helping people that are, as an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, as we all know, there's the struggles that come with running that business that can be really
yeah.
challenging sometimes. And I think there's an area there somewhere in the middle of therapy and performance that can gel quite well. So, and as same as everybody, I play with the idea of a book, but you know,
Well, go
that is
on, do it. Go on, do
yeah.
it. Write a book. I'll
Maybe a
buy
color,
it.
maybe a coloring book.
Paint by numbers.
Paint by numbers, stage hypnosis by numbers. I quite like that actually. That works.
You go deeper and deeper with every number you paint. I'm having it.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, do you know, thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Oh no, thank you for having me.
It's been really fun, and I hope it's mesmerizing for our audiences who are listening. And I'm sure people have laughed and gasped at some of our
Yes, I
conversation.
know.
if you want to work with Grant, if you want to get in touch with him, he's got a website. It's just grantsaunders.co.uk. Are you not heading off to the States soon?
So yes, so a couple of days' time, I'm going over to Detroit, and so yeah, that's a beautiful city that has some interesting challenges as well. But yeah, looking forward to that, and then back a couple of weeks' time, and then it's then prep for autumn season, which is great. So I'm in the middle of trying to rewrite a new Halloween style show. So
Ooh.
yeah, I'm trying to make it less children's Halloween, a little bit darker, but not horror. So yeah, trying to get that balance right.
Interesting. And
Mm.
you have a regular haunt in the UK where you perform frequently?
Yeah, so often down in Cornwall, a place called Monkey Tree, often at a place called Whitemead in the Forest of Dean, and often at a place called Mackie's in Briglington. And so that's every Thursday, every Sunday, and the Monkey Trees, they change the dates there. But yeah, and so yeah, often find that. And 2026, I have a new season in Skegness as well.
Good old Skeggy.
Good old Skeggy. Do you know what? It's a
Fantastic.
phenomenal venue
Yeah,
called Club Tropicana that's old school stages. It's a massive stage, big video wall, big production. So yeah, I love it.
beautiful, beautiful. If you're in those areas and you want to go promote your practice, have a chat with Grant and you can put your cards out on his table. I heard him say that at the beginning. I'm
Awesome.
gonna
Awesome.
hold him to
Absolutely.
it. Massive, massive thank you for coming on this
Oh,
episode.
thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for listening. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye for now.